soon.
Dodge this.
What's going on, guys? It's K-Dub here with another episode of CryptoZombie. Welcome back to the channel. Hope you're having an awesome start to your week. Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies having a very nice start to their week. There is lots of green across the board. We do have some cryptos in the deep green. We are still trending upwards from that amazing call. We literally got in at $11,405. We pretty much bought the bottom of this trend. So to anybody that had an opportunity to actually go buy that trade, not that we give financial advice on this channel, but let's be honest, that was an amazing call. So congratulations to everybody that actually was able to get in on that. But we need to talk about Bitcoin right now because there's two things I want to discuss. Number one, Bitcoin is doing something that it has only done 3 times in its history, and we're doing it right now. But at the same time, while we might be bullish on the fact that we did have that bounce, we're actually seeing record institutional shorts right now on CME Bitcoin futures, which means that the majority of the institutional investors on CME futures are currently betting against the price of Bitcoin. So they think that the price of Bitcoin is going to go down. Now, we have seen what's known as a short squeeze, which sometimes could actually have a negative effect on the fact of these piling up shorts and could actually result in an explosive Bitcoin move to the upside. So I do want to talk about that today. I also want to discuss the fact that we could potentially see a $30,000 Bitcoin by November of this year. I'm going to show you one other chart that if Bitcoin continues to follow this fractal like it pretty much has been following, well, that shows us that that is a possibility. And finally, I also want to end on the fact that we have the IMF coming out with an ad, or at least an infomercial, or whatever you want to call it, essentially talking about cryptocurrencies. So what is all that about today? That is what we're going to talk about today, if that sounds good to you. If you're new to the channel, definitely consider getting subscribed. Today is Monday, which means we're giving away the Ledger Nano S hardware wallet totally for free. Also, shout out to UCAM and IoTex. I just wanted to show you guys this really quick. So I actually ended up getting one of these cameras that they have, and you plug it into your house and it's totally secure and it's powered by IoTex. So basically it's not like sponsored or anything like that, but I just think it's really cool when you see these projects that, they had these ICOs back in like 2017, 2018, and they actually come through and fulfill what they say they're going to do. So really cool. Can't wait to set this up, but I don't want to hold you guys up anymore. I know you want to know about the Bitcoin price and are we going to moon and what is going on with price. So let's dive in. Let's have a look. So I do have some good news. Okay. Even though we did have our first red weekly candle in a month, well, we still were able to close above the weekly level of around the $11,524 level, which we needed to close above this previous double week resistance, and we closed above it. So yeah, I mean, even though Bitcoin had a red candle, you could see basically we opened up just above it and we've actually started to pump up. So still looking kind of bullish even on the weekly, despite the fact that we did have our first red weekly candle. Having a look right here, guys, you'll see we literally had a beautiful bounce off the level that I was speaking about basically all last week. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, the whole week we were talking about this level. I was actually able to get an amazing trade in at $11,405, and I do believe that we could continue to trend upwards towards the heart line of this ascending. It kind of looks like a bull flag if you really have a look at it, and it does look like that's around the $12,000 level. So we might have some turbulence. Okay, I do expect that throughout the course of the week, if Bitcoin kind of touches that $12,000 level again, do look for a potential pullback. We may have something like a double bottom. We had one here, we had one here. Maybe we're gonna have a bigger one right here before having the next blast off. So keep your eyes on that. Now, obviously, the level that we need to stay above is this trajectory. You can see previous resistance turn support. If we do fall below it, we do risk falling back down to the $10,500 level. So zooming in right here, as long as Bitcoin can basically stay above this line right here, we could bounce around here, really do whatever we want. If we fall below this, we don't really have a lot of area of support, pretty much until we come back down to this blue box territory, which is the $10,500 level. Now, ultimately, keep in mind, even if we were to fall down to that level, we're still putting in an ascending trend. We're still putting in a higher low. So still looking bullish, nothing to be bearish about on the charts currently right now. And having a look at CME futures, basically the same thing. CME futures with the exception of this blast off that we had right here, this fake out breakout. I still think we're putting in an ascending an ascending triangle, which is still bullish. I mean, ascending triangles are still bullish, guys. So, until we have a major change in this trend or something dramatic happens, there's no reason to get macro bearish. Short term, of course, we can have our pullbacks, right? Now, one thing I want to mention is something that Bitcoin has only done for the third time in history, and that is basically staying above $10,000 for, its longest time. You can see the longest we ever stayed above it was 63 days, and that was at the start of November in 2017. Actually, it was at the end of November, right before we had the massive blast off to 20,000 in December. And then the next time we did it was earlier in 2019. And then right now we've actually broke it. And yeah, it looks like we're going to try to stay above it for the second longest time in history. Now, Bitcoin doesn't stay above $10,000 that often. In its history, we really haven't been above these levels that much. In fact, if we can zoom out, I don't know, do I have anything on the old Uber macro right here? Yeah, I mean, having a look right here, you could see this green line right here. The only time we ever stayed above it was right here for, a few weeks back at the all-time high, and we barely just wicked above it back here in 2019. And obviously, we've actually held above it, since we got above it now. So pretty good looking for Bitcoin, right? But we need to talk about what is going on right now with these CME futures. So essentially bearish bets in Bitcoin futures from leveraged funds has rose to record highs on CME Bitcoin futures. You can see right here in the week of August 18th, leveraged funds or, hedge funds, various types of money managers, etc., in effect, who borrow money to trade have increased their short positions by 110% to a record high of 14,100 contracts. So institutional investors held 1,400 shorts contracts last week too, a number that has also more than doubled. So this means that the quote unquote smart money, if you want to call it the smart money, is basically betting against Bitcoin. Today, we have an all-time high of record leveraged shorts. A lot of people think that the Bitcoin price is going to go substantially lower. So the big question is, does that mean that it's going to be a self-fulfilling prophecy? Is the Bitcoin price actually going to dump? Or are we going to see what is known as a short squeeze? And a short squeeze essentially is when there are so many shorts piling up on top of each other that essentially they just sort of implode on top of themselves, and you actually see the price squeeze in the opposite direction. Now, I'm oversimplifying it. It's obviously a lot more technical than that, but we have seen it happen in the past, and sometimes it can leave a lot of these guys in the dust, right? So if we come down here, you notice that data according to Skew says that these leveraged shorts from a lot of funds were most likely an attractive cash and carry level. Now, what is this? Well, essentially the term cash and carry refers to an arbitrage strategy that seeks to profit from mismatches in pricing between derivative products and underlying assets. Now, stay with me because I'm going to show you some even more interesting data on the flip side, which is totally opposite of what I'm talking about right now. But essentially, this method of cash and carry that these guys are using involves buying the asset on the spot market and taking a sell position in the futures market where the futures is trading at a significant premium to the spot. Is that what they're doing? Because we have seen Bitcoin price over on CME futures trading like $200 higher, $300 higher, right? So are they just buying it and then maybe trying to do the short over there? They could be, right? That is something that they might be doing. But here is an even more interesting chart. So while you have CME basically betting all-time shorts, if we actually look over here, we actually have, according to Commitments of Traders reports, open interest is up 10.4%. And here is the kicker. So if we zoom in right here, okay, you'll notice that we have institutional traders at the lowest or the highest for shorts, but yet we have retail investors at the highest for longs. So basically, we have a 100% disagreement between retail traders and institutional traders. Institutional traders are basically betting at their highest levels yet that Bitcoin is going to dump, and the average everyday retail trader, sometimes they call it the dumb money, is betting that Bitcoin is going to go long. This is interesting. We have an extreme conflict between bulls and bears right now, and they are tugging and they are pulling, and the bears don't want Bitcoin to go above 12,000 while the retail is basically saying, send it. Now, to be realistic, and this is a chart from Trader XO, he is talking about Bitcoin potentially retracing down to the 0.75 level. Now, having a look right here, if we actually look at where the 0.75 level is, it kind of looks like it's around that $10,500 level. And that was the level that we had spoke about for that ultimate healthy retracement back to the original resistance turn support, right? If we actually go back here, like I said, that would be pulling down to these levels, and that would fill this area right here. And that would basically turn this resistance right here into support, and then we can continue along our merry little way. Now, let's talk about why Bitcoin could potentially reach these insane levels. Well, I'll get to that in just a second, but we do have Mike McGlone. Now, he's the senior commodity analyst over at Bloomberg Intelligence, and he recently talked about the trend of volatility, suggesting that despite these short-term pullbacks, really all they are is opportunities to buy the dip. He says the ultimate trend is still intact, and that trend is up. He says that we're stuck between the 3 to 9x over the past few years. The price of Bitcoin per ounce of gold tilts the crypto towards resuming appreciation. He says if volatility history tells us anything, then the August 19th cross rate of 6x is the same that we had in 2017, yet Bitcoin's volatility has dropped relative to gold. So essentially, he says something unexpected needs to happen for Bitcoin's price to stop doing what it's been doing for the most part of the past decade, which is, you guessed it, appreciating in value. Demand and adoption metrics remain favorable versus the crypto assets unique attribute to its fixed supply. Now, one thing I want to mention super quick is talking about, like my buddy Josh Rager pointed out, which, by the way, we had a chart that looked exactly like this because it was the exact chart. That was actually Josh Rager's chart. The guy that posted it didn't give Josh his credit, so let's give credit where credit is due here. Thank you, Josh, for making this amazing chart. But yeah, you can see that even during the insane bull run of 2017, we did have incredible double-digit pullbacks between 30%, 40%. You know, we've even seen recent ones, right, 50 and 60%. And having a look right here, I just want to point out the fractal that we've been seeing. Now, we have seen correlation between gold and silver and Bitcoin. Well, interestingly enough, have a look at this silver and Bitcoin fractal. Silver is above, Bitcoin is below. Obviously, the blue line right here represents what has not happened yet. And you can see Cleo, he points out that Bitcoin is essentially in its sideways consolidation phase, just like silver was right before its massive breakout. And if we take these two fractals and we look at how silver played out versus how Bitcoin could hypothetically play out in the same percentage time frame, not actual time frame, you see that this actually puts Bitcoin at a $30,000 Bitcoin target literally by November of this year. So let me know what you guys think. Obviously, fractals don't always play out. They're fun to look at, okay? They don't always play out. But if Bitcoin literally, which you can see right here, I mean, look at this. We have a peak. We have a sell-off. We have a fake out. We have the, the pandemic virus freak out. We pump up. We can't quite break previous resistance. We come over to the side. We have a pump. We start to break it right here. And then we head to the all-time highs. So is Bitcoin looking to head to $30,000? What do you guys think? Do you think this is just some fancy schmancy comparison chart, or do you actually think that Bitcoin is next? We've seen gold hit the all-time high. We've seen silver absolutely skyrocket. We saw the S&P 500 and NASDAQ doing incredibly well. And we also just had news that came out that, Trump is looking to potentially do a trial of a vaccine of some sort. And I think that also kind of stimulated a little bit in traditional markets. So what do you guys think about that? I get excited when I look at these fractals. Now, let's talk about Bitcoin in the media. Well, check this out right here. So we have a full page ad for Bitcoin that appeared on the front of a Hong Kong-based tabloid style newspaper called Apple Daily. Now, the text does appear to basically just be branding awareness. It doesn't tell you where to buy or sell anything, but obviously you can't read this, so let me tell you what it says. It says, Bitcoin will never ditch you. And then obviously it has Satoshi. It says Satoshi saying that, and it says in Cantonese, Banks, you're not ditching me today, I'm ditching you. And then in the bottom it says, Bitcoin is digital money. It is not issued or controlled by any government or corporation. Nobody can stop you from transacting on the network, and it cannot be shut down. Bitcoin is available to anyone regardless of their nationality, gender, or beliefs. Bitcoin begins with the Genesis block during the final crisis of 2009. Now its time is coming. So there you go. Lots of awareness. And if that's not enough for awareness, have you guys seen the IMF little info thing that they made? So basically they say, what are cryptocurrencies? Now, while they don't specifically mention Bitcoin or Ethereum, they did make this infomercial. Now, if you don't know what the IMF is, you simple Google search, but I'll save you about 15 seconds. Basically, they're the International Monetary Fund. They are an organization of 108 countries working together to foster global monetary cooperation, secure financial stability, facilitate international trade, promote high employment and sustainable economic growth, and reduce poverty around the world. So 189 countries, coming together, and they've all basically approved this message. I'll play it for you super quick, and you let me know what you guys think about it.
When we buy or sell things, the payment is usually processed by a bank or credit card company. Problem number one, the companies often take a cut of the transaction. Two, we have to trust these companies to protect our sensitive data from hackers. Three, most international payments take a long time and are expensive. To solve these problems, we could use a special currency that is secure and based on the science of cryptography, which is a way of protecting information using mathematics. This special type of currency is called a cryptocurrency and only exists in computer networks. When you send someone this special currency, the money goes directly to them, removing the middleman. And at the same time, the transaction is broadcast to the entire network and recorded in a permanent way, which means it's almost impossible to fool the system. Costs of making payments are lower, transactions are faster, especially across countries, and even those people around the globe who don't have bank accounts can buy or sell goods and participate in the global economy. However, there are some risks. The transactions in most cryptocurrencies are anonymous. Some cryptocurrencies can even be untraceable. This can make it easier for the bad guys to make payments without being noticed. If you lose your password, you could lose all your money. At the moment, cryptocurrencies are highly volatile. They can't process large amounts of transactions quickly yet, and they're not even widely accepted. But if we can counter the risks, then this new technology, or some variation of it, can completely change the way we sell, buy, save, invest, and pay our bills. And who knows, this could be the next step in the evolution of money.
So what are your thoughts on that? Why is the IMF coming out talking about cryptocurrencies? Is this bullish for Bitcoin and Ethereum? Or do you think obviously they're probably just going to come out with a digital dollar, digital euro, digital yuan, etc., right? So it's kind of interesting, but the fact that they went from basically, a few years ago saying that it's not even a topic of them worth being concerned over to now literally putting out this really informative little video does make me think that cryptocurrencies are in fact here to stay. And yeah, I do think this is bullish for Bitcoin because, that's just going to open the floodgates. Think about more opportunities, people getting into the digital space, people learning about digital dollars, digital whatever, and this will just create that seamless possible transition into things like Bitcoin, which we know are a much better store of value than the dollar, clearly. obviously. So let me know what you guys think about that below. And yeah, I do want to end on just one story super quick. And this is around, this particular crypto. So basically you have YF Value, which is a protocol that was intended, or is intended, I should say, to deliver the true value of yield farming finance accessible to all users. Now, about a week later, it turns out that about 170 million worth of the cryptocurrency in the protocol is at risk of being locked by one single contract owner. Doesn't sound too decentralized, does it? Well, besides mining the YFV token, farmers are also mining two additional tokens introduced by YFV. You have VETH token and VUSD token. Both of these two tokens have a minter set that is only modifiable by the owner. What would happen if the owner removed pool contracts from the minter's set? So while discussing the technicalities, they also concluded that this means that about 170 million worth of funds is now at the risk of being locked by a single EOA. The value locked in YFV has since decreased to about 130 million at the time of this article coming out, but the ownership of the keys in question will be kept by the team until such time that they manage to recover the funds that users may have lost by continuing to farm in the pool zero. For this to happen, the team has until August 25th at, whatever time this is to transfer the ownership of the YFV under the control to the multi-sig address, and they are looking for reputable and trusted people to do so. They have reached out to a few people. In fact, Box Mining was one of them that said should he sign the YFV multi-sig. But look, I think the thing is, like they say right here, recent trends and mistakes have shown that more audits are in fact needed, right? We saw what happened with YAM. That was crazy. It fell 99% in like a day, right? So developers do need to be more rigorous. Otherwise, if we do continue to have a lot of these blunders in the space and people getting burned and situations like this happening, also these exit scams, these guys pulling the rug with liquidity over on Uniswap, it's going to make it very scary for the DeFi space. And, unfortunately, these things do need to happen, right? We needed to have the BitConnects. We needed to have the scam ICOs. We needed to have the YAM tokens, right? Having the bugs in the contract. And, these guys pulling these liquidity scams, whatever. But, at the end of the day, that being said, I do think that this space does have a lot more room to grow. Do your own research. Don't invest in anything just because you heard somebody talking about it. This includes me. I am not always correct. Sometimes I'll find a token. I think it's great. I think it has potential. I think the project is, doing great things. And then a month or two later, turns out I was totally wrong, right? And this is not just me, this is anybody. So always do your own due diligence. Please never invest more than you can afford to lose. And I know I sound like a broken record, but sometimes it's just nice to be reminded about that, right? But that being said, it is time to give away a Ledger Nano S. So we had 6 videos last week. I didn't do a video yesterday. It was my dad's birthday. I told you guys about that. So I spent the day with the family. But yeah, so we have to do out of 6 videos, generate. That is video number 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. That was my historic news for Bitcoin. This was from the EU. So let's pop this in over here. And yeah, let's figure out who won the Ledger Nano S. That wasn't a very popular video that week. So that was my least popular video. So if you did comment, well, you got lucky. Thank you for supporting me. Everybody who watches my videos, even when they're not, the next 100x DeFi token. So yeah. Look at that, Al Wormter, ledger me. Well, you're getting ledgered, Al. I love when they ask for the ledger and you shall receive the ledger. So yeah, I'm all stocked up here on ledgers, guys. I give these away all the time. I pretty much keep a month's supply at a time. So I always got like 4 of these bad boys on hand. That's what I use myself. You can see I do use ledgers. I like ledgers. One of the products I'm looking forward to is Engrave. But they don't come out, I believe, until September. But I do have mine pre-ordered. So that could be an interesting Ledger competitor, but the wallet's not even out yet. So we'll see how that goes. But that being said, guys, that is it for me. Having a look, Bitcoin still hanging out well above our, level that we bought in on. So you should be good if you took the trade. But like I said, they're just suggestions, guys. Hey, this time it worked out. Next time it might not, right? But thank you so much for coming back to the channel. Definitely join my free Telegram group below. We hang out. We talk about crypto all day. Totally awesome. I do have links below. Any of those links, if you use them, a lot of them are referrals. By using those links, you are helping to support the channel so that I can bring you more of this content every day. But that's basically it for me today, guys. Hope you're having a great start to your week. Thanks again for coming back to the channel. My name is K-Dub. This is CryptoZombie. Until next time, stay crypto. And of course, peace out.